Pretty bird, pretty birdie, birdie bird, birdie bird. I don't know. What the hell's happening with my controller? Okay, well. Anyway, I said that if there wasn't the last episode, I would sing the Pretty Bird song that Victor Kudo did,
yeah,
but
and unfortunately,
we couldn't actually find the fucking lyrics or whatever to the song because we Googled it and they just don't exist.
Yeah.
What the hell's happening with my controller? Why is it doing that? The microphone?
No, it's all perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's still connected, so this should still be being picked up.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird.
Well, whatever. But yeah, we couldn't actually find the Pretty Bird song, so I just made stuff up, but it's probably not too far off.
Probably not. I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't remember.
You don't mean, was it...
I didn't know it at the time, but I think it was probably blood.
Is she saying that's when Miss Dunham, who was channeling Dahlia, was stabbed in the back by the killer?
At that moment, I was paralyzed with fear. I was just sitting there in the snow. I'm sure blood got on everything around me.
Excuse me? Okay, seriously, what's going on? Fuck, I didn't mean to hit the thing, but... Is everything okay now? Okay. I guess I work side by side with Maya for 2 years now. I can tell when she's trying to hide something by how she acts. And right now, I'm absolutely certain she's hiding something. Okay, but I also need to... So what happened next?
I don't remember.
How were you saved? You don't even remember that?
No. I haven't got any idea. I really don't know what happened at all.
That's too bad.
I work side by side with... Okay, yeah.
That's literally what he just said.
Yeah, it had to repeat it because I accidentally hit the button and... Baby! I'm recording!
Spare prep room? I mean, the only prep room I know of is that one in the,
I don't think it has anything to do with it.
I guess not. Anyway.
Okay. Well, let me save. Because I think... It has to be Mia, right? It has to be. Okay, well that's...
Well,
I guess that's not really a contradiction.
yeah. Go back to where it says that she said it was dark, because I'm pretty sure that's when we are supposed to...
I don't think she actually said that in her testimony. I think it's only when you press something.
Oh.
Well, by the light of the stone lantern, that's also a thing, I guess.
The lantern wasn't even used, it was the torches, right? Because it was not lit the light of the crime.
Okay, yeah, correct. So there's a man standing behind your attacker.
Yeah.
That man, he's the killer. He stabbed her from behind. He's the one who killed Miss Elise Dunham. Or otherwise known as Misty Faye, your mother.
The killer.
Maya, you know who killed your mother, don't you?
Well, what is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright?
To be frank, Your Honor, I think she's in shock and quite confused. That's why she hasn't noticed a huge problem with her testimony.
Huh? What do you mean? What problem?
Maya, on the night of the crime, that stone lantern was out of commission.
Huh? What?
It's true. There was no light anywhere in the garden that night.
That's also not true.
Yeah, but I think we have to get to that.
Order. Order in the court. Mr. Godot, explain this.
Add the pureness of milk to the perfect clear darkness of coffee. Stir. That is the state of the witness's mind right now. A cup of cafe au lait.
Cafe au lait? Is that even legal? Or, I mean, I don't judge necessarily, but like, is that legal in this state? I don't remember.
Mr. Trent's words are the milk, and you are the spoon, Your Honor.
I'm a spoon? I'm no spoony bard, I'll have you know. I mean, I personally prefer being the big spoon, but that's beside the point. I don't understand.
That would still make you a spoon!
But I'm not a spoon currently.
Hmm.
I'm not spooning, so I don't...
You seem to be spooning that chair of yours. As a matter of fact, if you think about it this way, you're the little spoon to that chair.
Spooning and sitting are not the same thing.
The chair is spooning you, sir.
In what way?
Well, it's got its arms wrapped around you, doesn't it?
My chair doesn't have any arms.
What? And then I get the thing with his visor. There's no way.
Right? But that's impossible. It's your gavel throne. You must have arms on your throne, right?
Hey, look at me. He's just there like this. Well, I'm just in a chair.
Ah! How could I have been so foolish?
You must have noticed it too, Trey. This witness's mental state is highly unstable right now. It's not hard to understand why she would make a little mistake like that.
Sorry, but that's not going to cut it.
What did you say?
If there were truly no light in the garden, then there's the fatal contradiction in the witness's last bit of testimony.
Nick.
May I? Recall the witness's statement about her attacker. She said that she didn't know if it was a man or a woman, or an adult or a child. And yet, the witness can describe a person now standing behind her attacker. And she quite clearly described him as a man.
Ah.
In other words,
The fuck?
my controller is disconnecting again. Are you like...
That wouldn't have anything to do with it.
I don't know. That would mean that Maya actually saw our mystery person, despite it being so dark that she couldn't see the face of her own attacker.
No! Order. What in the world does this all mean, Mr. Wright? Are you saying Miss Faye saw the real killer under pitch black conditions?
Troy, do you have any idea what you're proposing? How could she have seen in the dark? There was no other light source at the scene.
There are some things that you can only see in the dark, Mr. Godot.
So the person was glowing? Or some shit? I don't...
There's only one person I can think of who would glow.
Who glows in the fucking dark? Besides Dr. Manhattan.
His visor glows, doesn't it?
No! What? No! What? How?
I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of, though.
Like, how would he have gotten away?
Remember? He was there when we started investigating. He said, "Took you long enough."
Yeah, but Gumshoe would have said something about... Gumshoe was the one in charge of repairing the bridge. Godot was already there by the time we pulled up. Right?
I think...
I need to go back a couple episodes now. Holy shit.
But why? I mean, I know he also has a vendetta against Dahlia. Because she...
Poisoned him.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit.
Godot, you...
Did...
Is it really... Could it possibly be?
Does his visor actually glow in the dark, though?
It does, because remember the lights went out one time, and...
Oh yeah, and he fucking...
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Maya, you did see who the killer was in the dark. And now, you're trying to cover for him.
Cover? For the man that killed her mother?
That's not...
Cover? For the man that killed her mother? Excuse me. Sorry, Godot.
That was a
Pretty good
fine impression, Your Honor. A little off. It wasn't quite as gravelly as my particular...
Can my controller stop?
See, it's not me.
Yeah, it's not you. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna unplug it, plug it back in, see if that helps at all. Okay, cool. I don't know.
I think your controller just might finally be giving out on you.
No, I really hope not.
How much would it cost you to get a little one?
Well, it probably wouldn't cost too much. It's just...
It was just a basic 360 controller, ain't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd probably be like maybe like $20 or something.
If that.
Yeah. It just kind of sucks, but...
Buy 2 of them next time.
Yeah, I definitely will. There's only one conclusion I can draw from this. You know who this man is.
Please, Nick. I don't know anything. Please, I'm begging you.
You're talking a good game, Trey. Well, let's see if you can walk the walk. It was pitch black. So, what could the witness see? I'm calling your bluff.
No, Nick. Don't. Please. Stop.
Maya's dead set on protecting this guy, the man who murdered Maya's long-lost mother, but I can't let him get away with it. I'm a lawyer. I'm an officer of the court. I have to find the truth.
Alright, Mr. Wright, try to show us what you've got. Who is this person that Miss Faye saw in the darkness?
Was it really you? Because it was pitch black, Miss Faye was able to recognize the killer easily. I'm sure the court would like to see it for itself how this is possible, yes?
What? But how do you propose to show us something like that?
I guess those items actually weren't lit after all.
I guess not, but it says they were turned on, that they were lit.
We never got any evidence about it, though. It was just one of the things we examined, right?
It was? I thought we definitely got a court piece about it.
We didn't. If we did, I would have been able to... Yeah.
Well, then, I guess... Huh.
Oh, well. It's easy. We just need to recreate the conditions of that night.
Conditions? Contradictions? I don't... What? But how do we recreate a contradiction?
Your Honor,
Or
the offense officially requests... Sorry, the defense. The defense, sorry.
That's a good... what? Oh. Anyway.
The defense officially requests that all the lights in the courtroom be turned off.
Okay. Wait. This is... But it can't be.
Huh. That was a nice bit of deduction. Trite.
Well, everyone, this is the man Maya saw on the night of the murder.
Order! Prosecutor Godot, what is the meaning of this? Surely you must be shocked to hear yourself accused of such a thing. Why aren't you denying it?
17th cup of coffee. Your Honor, you're asking the wrong person.
Well, what do you mean by that?
If you've got a question, ask the witness. That's one of my rules.
Well, Maya, how about it? What you saw that night was 3 glowing red lights. Was it 3 glowing red lights? Whatever.
3 glowing red lights.
Yes.
Well, witness, answer the question. You're wrong. I never saw that.
Maya?
I thought the person that stabbed my mother was a man for a totally different reason.
What?
Witness, Mr. Wright, what?
Stop there chattering, Your Honor.
Chattering? Changes.
Jeez.
Sorry.
If it's worth asking, ask the witness. That's one of my rules.
Alright. Well then, let's continue with the testimony.
That would explain why he wasn't able to get a hold of. Right?
Maybe? Yes, but...
And then we were asking, hey, why weren't you in court? And he was like, I was doing something much more important. But the reality was he couldn't appear in court because he was stuck on the other side of the bridge.
Again, it makes sense, but what if that actually isn't the case?
Well, let's find out.
She said she recognized it being a man for a totally different reason, not because of the glowing light. So, what else is there?
I don't know.
What else glows in the dark? Or is otherwise a man that is somehow visible in the dark? Please tell us how you knew the killer was a man. Yes, Your Honor. I didn't realize it until after I woke up, but... When I came to, I was just lying there on the training hall floor. By the time I got back to the garden, the place had totally changed. The torches were lit, and the body was gone.
Okay, now the torches were lit. Okay, okay. Now it comes.
So they were lit the night of, but not during the murder.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
And all the snow around the lantern had been carefully cleaned up too.
Oh yeah, that never did get talked about, did it?
I never really assumed it was any important. I just figured that because the lantern was on, it would have just melted away the snow.
In a perfect square, and plus the snow under the torches aren't melted.
Well, no, the lantern. I figured because the lantern itself was on, maybe
for
whatever reason in that square it has a...
It was out of commission that night.
That's also true. I don't know then. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just never really thought about it as being relevant. Weird, but not necessarily relevant, you know?
It has to have some kind of connection, because...
Well, it has to now, yeah. Since the person did all that work alone, I just assumed it was a man. That's a weird thing to think of.
Yeah, that is very odd.
What if it was Mia?
Yeah, I mean, are you saying a woman can't work hard? Are you sexist against your own sex?
I don't think it's that she's trying to say that, but given what she's been exposed to as traditional roles and everything, maybe her understanding is that the men do most of the manual labor.
I mean, I guess. Which,
in most societies, tends to be relatively true.
Hmm.
From my understanding.
Yeah, I mean... I get what you mean, yeah.
Anyway. So, it was after the crime took place that the witness came to think the killer was a man. Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, Your Honor. No need to apologize. It's as Mr. Goodall said. You're utterly exhausted. It's only natural that you would be a little confused. Also, if you consider the situation you described, it doesn't seem too much of a stretch to assume the culprit was a man.
I mean, I guess. It just...
Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
It just seems odd.
Yeah.
You good?
Come on, buddy. We're almost done. I promise. You can be put away real soon. Just a little longer, okay? Hey! Don't you get me in that sass now.
Jeez, Louise. All right. Oh,
hey!
Oh my God! Are you serious? So you lost consciousness when you were in the garden. Is that right?
Yes. I think it happened when the victim was stabbed.
So the person that carried you into the inner temple.
It could only have been the killer. That's what I think too.
So the killer carried Maya into the inner temple. Naturally, the killer must have done it, right?
Yes, I think so.
But why would the killer tamper with the crime scene then? More evidence that it's Godot. No, think about it. He cleaned up the snow around it because he knew there'd be blood on the snow. But he didn't see the blood on the stone, on the... Because
that's why it wasn't cleaned off.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Why would the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? There must have been something that the killer desperately wanted to hide.
I don't know.
It looks like she doesn't have enough confidence. I think I need to gather some more information before I ask her again. Okay. Torches were lit?
Yes, that's how I noticed that the whole scene had changed.
You want me to say it was the killer who lit the torches? I mean, who else could it be?
The killer probably lit them, so it'd be impossible to do any cover-up work in the dark. Or since it'd be impossible. However, if that's true, there's one thing that still bothers me. Why did the killer go to the effort of moving the body?
That's true. It's hard to see how that would be of any advantage to the killer. The only one who would gain anything from that would be the only person that was at the inner temple, Maya.
But, wait, did we already prove that Dahlia was the one that moved the body?
No. Because Dahlia, remember, she was being channeled by Elise, but then Elise got killed, and she wasn't channeled again until Maya was in the inner temple. Or it was in the chamber. Locked away.
Right. But did we not say... Oh, no, wait, yeah, I guess so. Because she didn't have any time to get out of the thing, because Maya was channeling her the whole time.
Mm-hmm. And the only time she was able to finally get out was when Iris appeared, and that's when they swapped places.
Right, after the earthquake.
Yeah, and that would have been after everything was already...
Jeez.
Yeah.
Why would he swing the body over and everything like that?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, if he did it to save Maya, that's a perfect, as far as I'm concerned, commendable. I mean, yeah, it's still murder, but it was a murder in the defense of another person, you know?
Yeah?
Like, not necessarily self-defense, but I still think that there's got to be like a law or by right or a bylaw or an amendment or something saying that that's legal because
the hero clause or whatever.
Something. I don't know if it would be called that necessarily,
well, I just made that up on the spot, but you know, a similar idea, you know.
Yeah, right. Because I mean, you saved another person. Yes, it's unfortunate you took the life of someone to do so, but. You know, and I guess technically it could be considered vigilante work, but I mean, still, you're saving somebody else's life.
Yeah.
And I can understand the circumstances around it being kind of weird and sketchy, but the fact remains, you saved somebody's life by taking that of another.
I hear what you're saying, yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't think that's necessarily a crime. Like...
I mean, he would still probably... have some sort of maybe small punishment, like jail, but I don't think they would do full execution for if that were the case, right?
Right.
I mean,
there can't be. Like, it's not... I mean, it's technically murder, but it's not like... Murder, you know? I mean, manslaughter, I guess, but not murder.
Yeah. Well, let's continue.
Very well. Let me hear some more about the condition of the crime scene.
So you're saying the killer cleaned up the snow? It did look really odd. The snow was removed in an unnatural-looking rectangular shape around the lantern.
There were a lot of shovels around the inner temple, but they're all really heavy. Way too heavy for me to use. An odd fellow indeed, this killer. Why on earth would anyone want to take snow away?
Well, there's one thing I can think of. Didn't you say there was a lot of victims' blood splayed onto the snow?
Yeah. The AA class ended up being splattered.
In other words, the killer's purpose was to hide the bloody snow. I think that's the most reasonable explanation.
Perhaps. Wait, didn't we also find in the training hall entrance area the cabinet had Alcard's clothing that had blood on it?
No.
No?
No.
So Maya has not changed clothing.
No, you're thinking of the case with Morgan Fay and Eenie Meenie.
Oh. However, there's something that's bothering me. If the killer just wanted to hide the snow with blood on it, there was no need to remove that amount.
That's true. He could have scooped just to know that the stain was blood. Unless he couldn't see where the blood was.
It looks like there are some mysteries behind this issue. But I think this will help explain them.
So, you're saying that you never saw the killer, right?
Yes.
But earlier, you stated very clearly that you saw a man behind your attacker.
Nick, I'm sorry.
The killer certainly went through a lot of trouble. Moving the body by pendulum, manipulating the crime scene. But for what purpose? Why do all that? Maybe Maya knows more than she's letting on. Alright, now I gotta ask this again. Naturally, the killer, blah blah blah, I guess I think so. But why the killer? There must be any reason. The
truth is, when I saw the crime scene, I felt something.
You did?
Yes. I felt like the killer was hiding the evidence for me. For my sake. Well, what? Hiding it for you? Everyone knew that I was the only one at the inner temple that night. If Sister Bikini had come back and looked at the garden...
She may have thought that you had done it.
No, she definitely would have thought so. And you were saying that's why the killer cleaned up the crime scene to make it look like nothing had happened?
Yes, I'm sure of it.
Well, that's certainly an important piece of information. I want you to add that to your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor.
They did it for your sake?
Well, if the body and the blood hadn't been removed, they would have immediately been. I would have immediately been a prime suspect, right?
Yes, I suppose that's true.
Yeah, and if that happened, the body would have caused some other problems too. If her real identity had come out then, it would have been terrible. Master of Crane killed by your own daughter. I don't think Maya would have been able to handle it.
But still, it's rather difficult to fathom the killer's motives. What reason is there going through that much trouble to protect you?
Alright, I already know what to do. Gonna save just in case though.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It has to be this. The body released on him was carried all the way to Hazakura Temple's courtyard. Then at the garden, the real scene of the crime, the snow that we suspect was covered in blood was scooped away and removed. It's reasonable to believe all this was done in an attempt to hide the true crime scene. However, there's still one matter that seems to be somewhat odd, and that's the fact that my controller keeps disconnecting.
Ow. I thought I could spin the way around. Sorry.
Good job.
Oh, and what would that be?
You must have figured it out by now, Mr. Godot. It's the message written in blood on the lantern. It was written very clearly on the white stone lantern. Maya. If the killer was so motivated to protect Maya from suspicion, then why didn't they wipe the writing off the lantern?
You're right. Order! But, Mr. Wright, isn't it the fact that the killer was trying to cover up the crime scene?
Indeed, but doesn't it make much sense to move the body and remove the bloody snow, then not wipe off the most incriminating thing of all, the bloody writing?
But if that's the case, do you have an explanation for the killer's mysterious behavior?
Yeah, I do.
Why would this killer move the body and remove all that snow, but then leave the bloody writing on the lantern?
I don't know what the killer's plan was, but I know for a fact that the killer left writing on the lantern. There must be a reason for it.
Well then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your opinion. Why did the killer leave the message written in blood on the lantern?
Prosecutor Godot, earlier in the trial, he gave me some good advice. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth.
Maybe you're not as dumb as I thought.
The real killer wanted to disguise the fact that the crime had occurred there. If that's the case, they wouldn't have left the bloody writing on the stone lantern on purpose. Therefore, it must mean that they didn't notice it.
But that doesn't make any sense. The torches were all lit and everything. There's no way any normal person can miss something as glaring as that.
You're right. There is no way any normal person would.
What? What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright?
There's only one person involved in this incident who could have missed seeing bloody writing altogether.
And who would that be? Who is the person that could have failed to notice the bloody writing?
Mr. Godot, this is what you said yesterday.
Maya's head is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything.
You can't see everything? Is that correct, Mr. Godot?
This lantern was submitted as evidence today. I would like the court to think back to that moment it was first presented.
This lantern, there's something written on it. Why? It's written in blood.
Nonsense. This lantern, it's as clean as a whistle.
Mr. Godot, just admit it. There are certain colors you can't see, correct?
Most shades of red, some pinks.
You can't see red on a white background, can you? That's right. We went through this once before, during the poisoning case at Tribulations.
This is the apron the delightful Miss Burt was wearing at the time, and somehow spilled coffee on it.
There's something still bothering me, Mr. Godot. Why have you not explained the bloodstain to the court?
Bloodstain? What bloodstain would that be?
Don't play games, prosecutor. The blood-colored stain that's smeared all over the apron.
That's ridiculous. No one told me anything about a bloodstain.
You could see the coffee on the white apron, but you couldn't see their ketchup, because it was red.
Huh. It's strange. In a black and white photo, those letters would have appeared black to me. I wonder, why am I the only one that can't see them?
So then, Mr. Godot, are you admitting it? Are you admitting that you can't see the red writing on the planner?
Hey, Gramps. Didn't you know? That's the reason why I don't drink red tea.
Because he uses a white cup, so I mean, if I'm drinking red, he wouldn't be able to see this to the left.
I mean, I guess, but you should still be able to see there's liquid in there. I mean, if anything, it would just look like maybe water.
Maybe, or maybe because of the way his visor is, it just doesn't look like there's anything there.
You would still be able to see liquid, I'm sure. Even if you can't see, because otherwise it would just look like a solid objects in the cup, right?
Or nothing at all.
I don't know.
I don't know how it works. I don't know. I'm not Godot. I can't.
Yeah.
I can see the color red, so I don't know.
I mean, fair. It means that all Coke bottles just.
It's a can.
Yeah.
And it has Coke written on it.
No, he wouldn't even be able to see that because he can't see red. But it's only red and white. So everything would look white.
He'd be able to see
everything would look white to him.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Yeah, I guess so. Weird.
Yeah.
So he just think it's a white can.
Yeah.
Huh. A white aluminum can.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what you drink there? Can't you read? It's a blank can. What do you expect me to read your mind? What?
Oh, I don't think Coca-Cola exists in the universe.
Probably not, but still.
Or if it does, we haven't heard any mention of it.
Mm. I wasn't sure about it until now, but I just can't believe Prosecutor Godot is the murderer. But there's no going back now. I finally figured out the truth. Mr. Godot, the defense at this time formally accuses you. You are the murderer of Miss Elise Dunham, also known as Misty Fey.
It's hard to believe this may be true. However, once again, Mr. Wright has brought up a disquieting fact about you.
Just make sure you don't fill out the indictment with editing, Gramps. Come on. How does a little graffiti make me into the killer? Besides, it's not like it's my name that's written there.
I'm certain the killer wasn't able to see the color red.
This is rich. Dude, go on, Trey.
The answer is right there at the crime scene. In the snow. In snow.
No? How so?
Well, for example, why did the killer move all that snow? Your Honor, you said it yourself. If you wanted to hide the bloody snow, why not just take out just that area?
Yes, why didn't he take out just that area? Could it be?
Yes, the killer couldn't see the red blood that had seeped into the snow. And so, he had to remove all of the snow. He couldn't be sure where the blood landed, so he moved the whole area.
Isn't it more likely that the killer couldn't see the blood because it was dark?
Not a chance. The torches were all lit. He would have been able to see just fine.
It seems that once again this trial has taken an unexpected turn, to say the least. Can you explain this, Mr. Go?
Who? Maya.
Hold it! Wait a minute. Just wait a minute.
Maya?
Well, what is it, witness?
Mr. Godot isn't the killer. After all, he didn't even come to the inner temple until 2 days after the murder took place. He didn't show up until after that old bridge got fixed up.
Maya, you can't testify to something like that.
Well, why? What do you mean? I may not look like it, but I'm... Eek!
After the murder happened, you didn't even exist.
She didn't? I'm afraid I don't follow.
Aren't you senile, old man? We established this just a little while ago. After the murder, this witness was unconscious for a long time. Because she was channeling Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh, that's right.
But please, Your Honor, let me add to my testimony. Nick, please listen to me.
Maya, do you plan to cover for Godot no matter what the cost?
But why? Even if he is the quote-unquote murderer of Elise Dunham, he was doing it to protect Maya from Dahlia because she screamed, "Help me!" And he knows who Dahlia is. He personally would have a vendetta against her.
Yeah.
We just talked about it a little bit ago. So, like, yeah, it might be sort of revenge for him, but also he was doing it to save Maya.
So that would be the reason why she would cover him, right?
Yeah, so even so, why go through all the trouble? Like, I'm pretty sure if he just admitted that, yeah, it's him, or
Yeah, it was me. I stabbed her because I was trying to protect Maya.
like,
He could get off easy.
right. If not, maybe there is some sort of, like, hero clause established that, you know, if you kill somebody in the event of saving another, and it's proven in court that, you know, it wasn't, you didn't kill somebody maliciously.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you did it literally just to defend somebody else's life.
Unless that doesn't exist in this world, which...
May not. It may not even exist in our world. I don't know.
Yeah. My controller's having a really hard time.
It's okay, buddy. We're almost done. We're almost there. We're so close. So close.
We're past 30. Do you think we're close enough to the end, or...?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty... This has to be the absolute final bit. There's
Okay.
got to be nothing else here.
If that's the case, I've got no choice.
Well, it's just the all-switcheroo again!
Right. Your Honor, let's hear her testimony. If it means we're going to hear the whole truth, I say we should not silence her.
Ha. Nicely done, Wright.
Very well, let's hear the witness's testimony. Please tell us what happened at the Inner Temple after the murder.
Yes, sir. After I woke up, I began channeling, and my spirit left me, as it were. But little Pearly was there in the Inner Temple, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Pearly was also stuck on the Inner Temple side that night. The next morning, she looked around, but couldn't find anyone. The next day, when the bridge was finally fixed, she was in the spare prep room. That's when Mr. Godot arrived at the Inner Temple for the first time. He found Pearly first, and cheered her right up.
Who is this Pearly?
That's my little cousin, Pearl Fay.
So when did you hear about this?
Oh, just a while ago, when I was in the medical office.
I'm terribly sorry, but what you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony.
What? Come on! Pearly would never tell a lie. She's way more honest person than I'll ever be.
Real smart, Maya. You always know the best things to say when you're under oath.
Ha. The prosecution has no objection. We believe the witness.
Mr. Godot.
Let's just move on to the cross-examination, if the defense has no objections.
This is highly unusual, but, well, Mr. Wright.
Let's get this cross-examination started. ... So where did you think Pearl slept that night?
In the spare prep room next to the training hall, I guess. There's a rule that you can't enter the training hall during an acolyte's training.
Well, even so, why did she go to the Inner Temple in the first place?
It seems that Pearls became very worried about Maya.
She knew that the spiritual training I was about to undergo was very intense. Also, being inside the temple would have been like the only place where it was not as cold. You know, snowing and everything.
Pearls was supposed to channel Dahlia Hawthorne, but she couldn't do it. That's why she headed to the Inner Temple. However, Dahlia Hawthorne was already there, possessing the body of Elise Dunham. She searched the entire Inner Temple side, end to end.
Well, you see, Pearly gets pretty scared when she's alone. And there weren't that many places to look. She says that she even went back and forth several times.
The Inner Temple has two structures, the training hall and the spare prep room.
And there's also a storage shack, I think. That's about it.
There's a storage shack, too. Rose was looking for other people, right? Would she have really examined a storage shack at all that carefully?
Well, if it was me, that would be the first place I would investigate. I was locked in one, remember?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was technically a wine cellar, but may as well be.
So that means it's possible that someone may have been hiding in a storage shack.
Girls didn't hear the sound of them working on the bridge?
What do you mean?
I was just wondering why she would stay in the prep room. If it was me, I would at least go out and wait on the foot of the bridge.
Oh, well, Furry said she was sleeping at the time. She said she was so scared during the night that she couldn't sleep well and woke up a bunch of times.
Poor little girl, all alone like that.
Well, we know that she at least had one friend in the Sacred Cavern. Dahlia Hawthorne, who was busy battling with the trick lock.
She couldn't let anyone see her, so she wouldn't have sewn herself to pearls.
What happened over the bridge was finally fixed.
So it was your first time on the Inner Temple side, Mr. Godot?
That's funny. Am I imagining things, or the defense asked me a question?
Mr. Wright, please save your questions for the witness.
What you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony. Those are your words, Your Honor.
Touche, Mr. Wright. Oh well. What do you have to say, Mr. Godot?
Hot nights and even hotter coffee. That's what I always say. If it hadn't have been for this case, I never would have visited there. Freezing cold temple in the mountains. I think I'll pass.
So you had never visited Hasakura Temple or the Inner Temple, huh?
Ha. You want to say something, Trite?
In any case, I have to find a crack in Godot's armor. While I cross-examine Maya, that is.
Very well. Please go on with your testimony. After fixing the bridge, the policeman came over to the Inner Temple side, right?
Yes. Then Mr. Godot... He found Pearly first and cheered her right up.
He cheered her up?
That's what Pearly said. She said he was a very nice older gentleman. Thank you for looking after my cousin, Mr. Godot.
And here I was thinking you were nothing more than a coffee addict.
Cut it out. You're making me blush.
This guy is really beginning to get on my nerves, in more ways than one.
The truth is, there aren't that many places to look on the Inner Temple side. The policemen were all busy going over the garden with fine-toothed combs. So I decided to carry out an investigation in my own way. Godot style.
I'm the same way. I like to hand down verdicts in my own way. Judge style.
Okay. Is your name just Judge? Oh, whatever. Maybe I should ask him some questions, Phoenix style.
I don't think chewing pearls up really has much to do with it.
But it could. You know, what if that happened to have, like, one tiny...
But wouldn't it be more sense that there would be a chink about his investigation?
Possibly, but it could be one of those things where it, like, tricks us. Well, let's just do both. I'll do Godot's investigation first. You said you had conducted an investigation of your own. Did you find anything?
It looks like my investigation went about as well as yours, Trite. After all, I did miss the bloody writing on the lantern.
Well, I didn't miss it, so speak for yourself, Goggles.
The only odd thing I discovered was the beauty in the training hall.
Beauty?
Misty Faye, naturally. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western tastes.
Western tastes? Did he find a stranger way to describe gravy?
So, from there you're headed for the prep room?
Wait a sec. What did Godot say just now? I think I found a proverbial weak spot. There's only one thing of any importance here. Where was Godot when the murder was taking place? He must have already been at the Inner Temple when it happened, otherwise he couldn't have killed Elise Dunham. Yeah, okay.
So we say that again, I guess? And then ask the cheering Pearly up?
I think I already know. Where is it? Oh, it's right there. Okay,
Nope.
maybe not on that one.
Maybe it is asking about it, rather than...
There we go. Mr. Godot, the first time you crossed Rusty Bridge and went to the Inner Temple was long before the murder took place.
Why do you say that? Pout face.
Because he made one fatal slip-up. The hanging scroll in the training hall.
Hanging scroll?
But Mr. Godot was right. That scroll shows a picture of my mother.
Maya, I know you know who it is, but there's something you didn't know. By the time the bridge had been repaired, 2 days after the murder, the hanging scroll in the training hall looked like this.
What's that wonderfully delicious smell?
The morning after the crime, someone covered it with gravy.
Gravy? But why gravy, Nick?
Because gravy was much more than a condiment to the culprit. Well, Mr. Godot, if you really hadn't seen the hanging scroll until after the murder, you wouldn't have had no way of knowing that it was Misty Faye.
Wait a minute, Nick.
Yes?
Take a look at the hanging scroll. Look, at the top. There's a crest there.
Ah, that. It's the mark of the master, correct?
Exactly. So if you know the meaning of the mark...
Then you could guess that it was a picture of Misty Faye on there.
True, but Mr. Godot described what was underneath like this. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue of aroma of her Western tastes.
Oh.
Yes, it's possible that he knew what the crest meant. However, he couldn't have known that she was wearing Japanese clothing. Mr. Godot, on the day of the murder, you were hiding at the Inner Temple, long before the crime took place.
Can I ask you just one thing? Just one little thing, Troy.
What is it?
This whole theory of yours, it all rests on a certain assumption that I knew beforehand that a crime was going to be committed.
That's right. Otherwise, there's no reason for him to sneak onto the crime scene.
Of course Mr. Godot knew about the plan.
Huh?
What did you say? Is it really possible that another person knew of that plan?
This crime was actually planned over a year ago. Morgan Fay authorized the plan for her daughter's future, and these instructions were hidden somewhere in the May Fair for a year. However, by the time Little Pearls found the instructions, they had already been unsealed.
Unsealed?
Yes. The
Unsealed?
killer... Yes. The killer had read these instructions long before Pearls ever found them. That's how he knew the crime was going to take place at the Inner Temple.
And you still insist on this crafty killer being me.
You bet I do.
But you just said that the instructions were hidden.
That's right. Mr. Godot couldn't have known when the instructions were hidden.
If he really wanted to know, he had one great chance to find out.
Yes, and when was that?
During a visit.
A visit?
Morgan Fay told her own daughter, Pearl, about where the instructions were hidden. During one of her visits to the detention center. That would be the only time for someone to have learned where they were hidden.
Eavesdropping on a visit at the detention center.
Yes, it could be arranged if you were someone with easy access in and out of there. Like, for example, a prosecutor such as Mr. Godot.
Order! Mr. Godot, you're under fire again.
This murder could not have been carried out without prior knowledge. And you. You were the only one that could have acquired this information before the murder. Seems a bit coincidental.
A little far-fetched, too.
Yeah.
Humans are afraid of the dark, and yet, at the same time, are fascinated and bewitched by it. Maybe that's why humans drink the darkness that is coffee.
Yeah. Sorry for asking, but what does that mean?
It means there's a reason for everything. According to your theory, the killer in this case eavesdropped on a conversation during a jail visit where he learned of a hidden plan for a crime. After discovering the plans, he hid in the Inner Temple and waited for the crime to occur. Then he ultimately took a person's life. And he did all of that just to protect this witness?
That's right.
If you're accusing me of this crime, I have to ask you, Why would I do this? This girl is nothing but a stranger to me. I've got no reason to go through that kind of trouble to protect her.
For Mia.
I am what you see. I am certainly not the type to rescue the damsel in distress, unless it's immediately in front of me.
Like if it's happening like right there.
Okay,
in front,
got it. Alright. Well, anyway, still your line.
The killer's behavior is certainly extreme, for lack of a better word. Even considering that the killer wanted to protect this witness's life, his behavior is still a little too unnatural.
However, you had no good reason, did you, Mr. Godot? You had a good reason, an unshakable reason to force you to protect this witness at all costs.
I know it. You figured it out, haven't you, Nick?
Maya, I guess you were doing your best to cover for Godot for the same reason, huh?
Okay, Trey. I'm all ears. Let's hear it.
It's very simple. Can I say it real quick?
Also, I just want to point out, this is a completely new occasion for me. My 18th cup of coffee.
Cheers, I guess. Maya Fey is a lot more than just a stranger to you.
Well, what's this?
There's one person who lies at the very center of this whole story. One person that ties you and Maya Fey together inextricably. There's a very good reason why Maya's Fey life is so precious to you. After all, she's Mia Fey's only sister.
Mia. Fey.
You once worked alongside her. That was when you were a defense attorney.
Well, wait a second here. Mr. Godot is a defense attorney?
With your honor's piercing intellect, you must have figured out by now. The real name of this man who calls himself Godot. His real name is Diego Armando.
Also, I just want to point out that Ethan was actually correct about that way back when he first said that Diego
Armando. Yeah.
Armando.
Armando. Yeah.
Armando.
Whatever.
Armando.
Okay, what? Yeah. But yeah. Isn't that right?
The last time someone called me by that name was over 6 years ago.
Diego Armando. That name rings a bell.
It should, Your Honor. All of this is related to a single case. In case in which the convict named Terry Falls killed himself. Mia Fey's first time in court. Their tragic outcome left a deep wound in her heart. She knew that behind it all was a heartless, scheming demoness in disguise. But in the end, Mia couldn't tear off that disguise. However, there was one man who reached out to help her. Diego Armando, a senior defense attorney at the office where Mia worked.
It's my fault. It's all my fault that Mr. Falls killed himself.
Mia, you can't cry yet. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. I was moved by her. The way she put all her faith in her clients. That pure, sweet heart of hers. That's why I could never forgive Dahlia Hawthorne. Mia and I thoroughly investigated that fake kidnapping incident. Then, one fateful day, Dahlia wanted to meet with me. It had been 6 months since the trial. We met in the courthouse cafeteria.
I just remembered. 6 years ago, right here in this courthouse, you were poisoned.
Even I didn't see it coming. Dahlia Hawthorne slipped some poison in my coffee.
Some newspapers at the time called it a murder. But very little information about the case was released to the press.
But you weren't dead at all.
No official reports actually called it a murder. I was just in a deep, deep coma.
I see.
My body shut down, and my life became nothing but a long, deep sleep. That was poison to the real number of my central nervous system. I lost my sight, and all of my hair turned white due to the damage it caused.
That's terrible.
Apparently, it was a miracle that I ever regained consciousness. 5 years had passed since I drank that poison brew. The one morning, my eyes flew open from the smell of a doctor's cup of coffee.
For 5 years? You were asleep for 5 years?
And the worst possible news was waiting for me. Mia Fey was dead. From the very moment I opened my eyes, I had already lost everything I thought I had. The woman I loved had been murdered. And the woman I loathed had been sentenced to death.
The woman you loathed?
The woman who would spike my scalding hot coffee, Dahlia Hawthorne. Ha. Good old Mia. She didn't let me down. She got her revenge before she checked out. In the end, there wasn't anyone waiting for me when I woke up.
That's so sad.
For someone like me, for someone who had slept away their best days, there were only 2 reasons left to live. And it was for those 2 reasons that I decided to become a prosecutor.
If I may ask, what were your 2 reasons to live?
The first was you, Trite.
Huh? Me?
If I hadn't drank that stupid poison, Mia Fey never would have died, much less the way she did. You were the only one who was there to protect her. But you let her die. It was all your fault.
It wasn't like that.
I wanted to see for myself what kind of a man you really were.
So that's why you became a prosecutor?
Minor reason for living. She goes by the name of Mia Fey.
Huh? You mean me?
You were the only one. You were the only way I could make up for the sin of not saving Mia. 1 year ago, when the Korean village incident was resolved, it was obvious that Morgan Fey was planning something. Whatever her evil plan was, I was determined to stop it. My role as a prosecutor put me in the perfect position to do something about her.
That's how you overheard Pearl's visit with Morgan at the detention center.
I knew that the time was drawing near. Since I knew the plan, I thought I could foil it. My goal was to outwit the plan. I thought if I could do that, I could keep that girl from being caught up in it.
That makes sense. If Pearls had known about the actual purpose of the plan was to kill Maya, she never would have helped out.
Finally, the day of the plan was drawing near. I contacted both of my accomplices.
Accomplices?
Iris of Hazakura Temple and Misty Fey. I especially needed the help of Iris. She was to take the fall in my backup plan, in case we couldn't control Pearl Fey.
But, how did you contact my mother? She had been missing for almost 20 years.
Officially, yes.
What do you mean officially?
Good grief. Now's not the good time, Controller. This is really emotional.
And important.
You've heard about it, haven't you? About the strong ties between the main family and the government?
Now that you mention it, Bikini did say something to that effect. She said that the Master Crane had great authority.
Even without her official position, Misty Fey still wielded great influence. The police have been keeping an eye on her movements all this time. That's how I was able to contact her. Again, because of my position as a prosecutor.
So my mother was cooperating with you?
Don't ever forget, no matter how far away from you she was, she never stopped thinking about you.
She was always...
That's why I knew she would do anything to protect you. If you want to know how strong a resolve to protect you was, look at her staff.
Her staff? The one with the sword in it?
The day the plan was to be carried out was arrived soon enough. We met for the first time at Hazakura Temple. That's when your mother showed me her special staff. I realized it then, just how far she was willing to go. She was ready to use that sword to protect you from Morgan Fey, if necessary. Yes, even if it meant paying the ultimate price.
Mother...
That night, the night of the crime, there was just one way to stop Morgan's evil plan.
You mean Pearls, don't you?
We had to make sure she didn't channel Dahlia Hawthorne.
You were...
Well, Pearl, what are you going to do tonight? Well, if you'd like, you can come to my room. Perhaps we can read some books together.
We thought we could prevent her from playing a part in Morgan's plan, but she never showed up.
She was worried and followed me to the inner temple.
That was the thing we were most afraid of, and that's why Misty Faye had to do the channeling herself. She channeled Dahlia Hawthorne into her own body.
And that makes sense now, I guess. She knew in advance. So that's why, remember we were saying, oh man, she read her own, like, plot to be murdered and, like, didn't even know it. But she probably did know it.
Yeah. What do you mean?
If she channeled the spirit first, then Pearls wouldn't be able to do it herself.
As Master Create, Misty Faye's power was supreme. So that's how it went down. She channeled Dahlia Hawthorne so that Pearl Faye wouldn't be able to.
What? Is this true?
My role in the plan was to make sure no one was going to hurt Maya Faye. That's why I hid myself at the inner temple. Just in case you needed to be safe from Dahlia Hawthorne.
Godot.
Anyway, that's all I'm going to admit to. Try.
Huh?
There's no doubt about it. You're a great defense attorney. But you're going to have to do the rest yourself.
There's still more? We're already going for an hour.
Jesus, man, duh!
I mean, we can't stop now.
We gotta keep going.
I just hope this doesn't end up being like a 2-hour episode, you know?
Right? If it does,
I might have to like split it up. And like, so I won't have like an official, well, next time or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the weirdest ever, but like, jeez.
Yeah?
I guess we could just edit it in, like, just record us saying, we'll see you guys next time, and...
I guess.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, the bark road leading up to the scissor has been laid bare. There's just one question remaining, Mr. Wright. Who killed the victim? There are only 2 possible suspects right now. Maya Faye, and I'm sad to say, you, Mr. Godot.
Well, Trey,
Saving, because I don't know if that's going to be a question next, which I can't save yet.
if you're the real deal, then finish this thing once and for all. Show us beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can finish this on your own.
No, Nick, please don't.
Hiya.
I heard the whole thing from my sister in the medical office. That's why I had to protect Mr. Godot. I can't do it. I can't testify against him. After all, he's the man who put his life on the line to protect Mia. And me too.
Maya, I know that.
Nick!
But even so, it doesn't absolve him of his crime. Please, Maya, testify.
Miss Faye, your testimony, please.
This is a final testimony. Don't bother trying to hide anything, because I'll know. I want to hear the truth from your own lips.
I understand. I'm sure you're right. I'm ready now, Nick.
Alright, final testimony.
Alright, young lady. Tell us about the moments before you lost consciousness. What exactly happened at the time of the murder?
Just before it happened, I think I saw some red lights. 3 of them. I thought I'd ask for help, but just then I was splattered with blood. She wasn't dead though, and she struck back at the enemy behind her. Suddenly, the red lights went out and the whole area was dark. Just at that moment, there was a horrible scream. Right after that, Dahlia collapsed and I lost consciousness.
These red lights. I thought you said you don't remember seeing them.
I'm sorry. I thought I saw them, but then they disappeared all of a sudden.
Things break, right? Even the best of theories. Who was it that stabbed Misty Faye? It looks like you still can't prove it.
Why is telling the truth this time? I know it. The rest is up to me.
Well then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your final cross-examination of the witness.
Lights shining in the dark. I don't think you could make a mistake about that.
Yeah, you're right. I think I saw them, but I can't say for certain. And I can't tell you for sure they were from Mr. Godot's mask either.
Oh, sorry. I don't get the feeling she's covering for him anymore, but just after that, you turn the lights. You turned to the lights and called for help. Isn't that because you thought the lights were coming from Mr. Godot's mask?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe that's what I was thinking at the time, but I can't remember. After all, it was a person I couldn't identify in front of me.
Maya's life was in terrible danger at the time. There's no way she could remember the details of the scene perfectly.
Alright then, let's go on with the testimony. What did you do when you saw the red lights?
That blood, was it Dahlia Hawthorne's blood?
I think so. Probably. Just at that moment, I heard a soft scream that seemed to be close by. It was a woman's voice.
So that was when the killer stabbed the victim from behind with the murder weapon. Is that right?
Without a doubt, Maya was in the middle of a really dangerous situation.
Anyway, the victim was stabbed by the murder weapon. What happened after that?
Struck back? How do you know that?
Well, you're right. I didn't see it exactly, but I could tell by the sounds of their breathing and movement, and also the smell of blood.
You have witnessed more horror than any young lady should ever have to in one life. So then, what did you do at that point?
I couldn't move. I could just barely make out their shadows moving in the dark, but I had no idea what to do.
Did you still see the red lights you mentioned earlier?
Yes, I think so. But
They went out?
yes, suddenly I couldn't see them at all.
What could it mean?
If the red lights were coming from Godot's mask, and they went out right in the middle of a fight,
Maybe the mask was damaged?
or maybe it was knocked off.
Or maybe the batteries ran out. Right?
Or maybe those little red pinhead-looking lights just stopped working.
What could have really happened then?
Knocked off. Damaged.
Maybe the batteries ran out.
Or maybe they just stopped working? I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lightning hit the rope bridge.
How much do you want to bet the blood that's on that knife is Godot's blood? And that's what we have to use here. Because that knife doesn't... The murder weapon we know is the cane. So where does that knife come into play?
Right, that was the dagger that Elise was carrying, right?
No.
No?
No, Elise had the cane, remember?
Yeah, but wasn't she also carrying the dagger?
That's what Dahlia claimed. But we knew she was lying.
How do we know that?
Because...
Well, like, how do we know that she was lying about carrying the dagger?
I mean, I guess we don't technically know she was lying about it, but why would Elise carry both a dagger and a sword?
Ceremonial?
Plus, Dahlia needed something to kill Maya with, right? She probably had the dagger.
Right, because she said she picked it up from the storeroom.
Yeah.
So... Oh. Well, that's because she didn't know about the staff being also a sword.
Well, yeah, but that's why she lied. She said that the dagger was the murder weapon because she didn't know about the sword.
Yeah. Okay. Alright, yeah. Why would Godot carry a dagger, though?
No, Dahlia carried the dagger. To kill Maya.
Then... So, he used
Wait.
the staff somehow to stab?
Maybe? I don't know. I'm just I don't know. I was just kind of spitballing, but... What do you mean just at that moment? You mean the moment when the red lights went out?
Yes, that's right.
That scream you heard then. Was it Dahlia Hawthorne?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was a man's voice.
What? So then that scream came from the killer?
Oh, of course! Okay, I got it now. Elise, or Misty, was channeling Dahlia.
Mm.
She brought the staff with her, without knowing that it was a sword.
Without Dahlia knowing that it was a sword.
Correct, without Dahlia knowing it was a sword. But she also got a dagger, so she could kill Maya.
Right.
But when the
Yeah. It's a stick. She can't exactly beat Maya to death with a stick, otherwise it'd be really noticeable.
when the kerfuffle happened, she used the dagger to stab Godot. But Godot knew that the staff was a sword because Elise showed him prior.
Right.
So he used that to stab Dahlia, not the dagger. Plus we already know that the staff was a murder weapon anyway.
How does she stab Godot though? Because up to this point, at this point she was still facing Maya, right?
Well, there was a scuffle, remember?
Prior to Maya saying anything about there being a scuffle, like, did we actually have any evidence of that? Because I genuinely don't remember if we knew anything about there being some sort of, like, fight or scuffle.
Well, we didn't know about it until just now. But now that this new information has come to light...
Alright. Alright, on the line.
Oh, okay, sorry. That's got to be it.
Dahlia Hawthorne must have taken the blade and attacked the killer with it.
Rather the killer let out a scream of pain, huh?
After that, the killer stole the blade and delivered the final blow, I guess.
Nope, because there's a dagger. A dagger that hasn't come into play until now.
Well, Mr. Wright, it seems to make sense to me.
It sounds like a reasonable direction, but it's still kind of wonder. I'm sorry to say this, but that interpretation would create an enormous contradiction.
That makes sense. After all, my predictions are almost certainly never correct.
Remember the testimony she just gave? Before the killer let out a scream, Maya said she had already been splattered by the victim's blood. In other words, the blade and the staff had already been plunged into the victim.
Ah, is that right?
She couldn't have struck She couldn't have struck back with a sword that was already stuck in her body. The woman that caused the killer to let out a scream must have been something other than the staff.
If you're so sure about that, then don't keep us waiting any longer, Trey.
There's only one thing I can think of, and that could have been used as the weapon here.
If Dahlia Hawthorne had already been stabbed in the back by the staff, what could she have used to strike back at the killer?
The knife.
Plot dagger!
Naturally, the dagger the killer brought to the scene of the crime.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
This dagger was found in the crime scene, stuck into a pine tree.
Yes, the detective found it this morning and brought it to me.
Dahlia Hawthorne struck back at the killer with this, and she managed to wound him as well.
Just because he let out a scream doesn't mean that he was wounded. For all we know, the blood on the dagger could have been from the victim.
Have you forgotten that the blood has already been tested?
Eh?
Since we learned it wasn't the victim's blood, it must be the killer's blood. The killer must have a wound somewhere on his body. Are we going to ask him to take off his mask?
So you were saying the blood on this dagger belongs to the killer?
Exactly. A DNA analysis of the blood would prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And yes, Mr. Godot, it would prove that it is your blood.
Nice theory, Trey.
Order! Order in the court!
Is this the end? Have I done it? Even he won't be able to change the result of a scientific test.
Ha. Let me ask you something, Trey. Let's just say that it turned out that I was the killer. Do you really think I would be stupid enough to leave evidence like that?
What?
Just think for a second. This dagger was found this morning by a detective and brought to me. There was already blood on it, correct? But even so, I was the one who brought this dagger here to the courtroom.
Yes. What does that prove?
Well, if I really were the killer, I could have washed the blade off and then planted another person's blood on it.
Alternatively, why would he even bring this dagger to court at all?
That can't be.
In any case, there's one thing I can guarantee, Wright. That blood, it doesn't belong to me. Not a chance.
What?
In any event, it seems to be established that the killer was wounded. Alright then, witness, continue testimony.
Well, wait a minute.
What's the problem?
I know I probably shouldn't say this, but there's a big contradiction in the next explanation.
Maya?
This dagger, you said that it wounded the killer.
That's right.
But, if Mr. Godot had really been cut with the dagger, his clothes should be bloody or have a rip in them, right?
Maya? Maybe he just changed clothes? That solves the contradiction pretty easily.
What are you talking about? It's not that simple at all. Remember back to the day of the murder. Everyone that was on the inner temple side got trapped there.
Ah, that's right. And once the bridge was fixed and the police headed for the inner temple, Mr. Godot was already there waiting for them.
That was Maya.
Mr. Godot was already there waiting for them. He never had a chance to change his clothes.
Ah,
We're gonna have to ask him to take off his mask, aren't we?
probably. Order in the court. Where the witness?
Well, maybe he brought a change of clothes with him.
But no one could have predicted the lightning strike that shut down the bridge. How would anyone have brought a change of clothes?
Yeah, did the judge take a smart pill during the last recess? Well then, maybe the killer took off his clothes before he committed the murder. That way he wouldn't get any blood on them.
That's impossible, Wright. You know how cold it gets up there late at night. After a few minutes with no clothes on, you'd be frozen solid.
Ah.
Ha. So, that's all you've got. I know you weren't tough enough to finish this.
Yerk.
Right now, if Mia Fey were here, she would have closed the book on this case already.
If Mia Fey were here.
So come on, Triton. Can you do it or not?
Saving. In case
We're
of
gonna
the
try and
question.
somehow use Maya to channel Mia right there.
Nah, I doubt it.
So, how about it, Mr. Wright? You've accused Mr. Godot of being the killer. But can you prove it? Have you got even one piece of evidence?
The question isn't whether I can prove it or not. The fact is, I have to prove it. That's the only choice I have. I was taught this. I was taught that it's one of the rules of being a lawyer. I can prove it. I'm going to bring your magnificent vengeance to fruition, just as you want it.
Ha. That's good. The fight till the bitter end, right? Since there's just one piece of evidence that can prove your point, why don't we go for the the unlimited penalty?
Jeez. Are you trying to pressure me, Mr. Godot? Because it doesn't matter to me. I've got one piece of evidence I need.
Give me a break. You've got nothing, right?
So what do I do at a time like this? It's simple. I've got to think outside the box and approach this from a different angle.
Alright then, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you've got.
Saving. There's one thing I've demonstrated in the previous competent examination. The killer was wounded. That was proven by the blood on the dagger.
But we decided it was impossible for him to have hidden such a wound. If he had been cut by a dagger, there should have been a bloodstain on his clothing.
There's one place. One place the killer could have hidden his wound.
Well, what did you say?
Hidden.
Yeah, this is it. My last stand. I need to think about this from a different angle. I don't need to think about why there was no blood stain on his clothing. I need to show how he hid the wound.
It's the end of the line. The final stop, right? Let's see what you've got. Where's this location where you said the killer hid his wound?
What do I show? The mask?
Ha! I don't know what you're talking about. And frankly, I don't need to know. What I do know is that you'll never be half the lawyer she was. Isn't that right, trite? What was that just now? Mia? It can't be. You're living on through him?
Even as we speak, you're still hiding the wound. It's beneath your mask. During the fight, the red lights given off by the killer suddenly disappeared. Seconds later, the killer let out a scream. That's right, your mask went flying off your face. Mr. Godot, would you mind removing your mask? If you have a dagger wound under there somewhere, then I'd say this whole case is solved.
Just now, I saw her spirit in you. I never liked you. 6 years ago, you helped the woman who put me asleep by hiding her bottle of poison. And then, while I was sleeping, you let Mia die.
For fuck's sake, really now? Who is it?
Angie?
Can you tell her?
Yeah,
Oh. Fuck's sake, my fucking controller, what the hell? Is everything alright? Well, should I pause the episode?
no, we're okay.
Okay.
Alright.
While I was sleeping, you let Mia die.
Jeez Louise.
But you didn't care. You just kept living your pathetic, happy-go-lucky life.
Really, controller? Now is not a good time.
You even had the nerve to follow in her footsteps as a lawyer. I could never forgive you. That's what I thought.
Mr. Godot.
But I was wrong about you. I knew it from the very beginning. The truth is, the only person I could never find it in my heart to forgive was me.
You? Yourself?
I was the one that failed to protect Mia. Me and no one else. I tried to avert my eyes from the truth, to escape from the harshness of reality. I just couldn't face Mia's death head on, so I ran. I hid behind a mask. I threw away my true name. I couldn't even deal with being a defense attorney anymore, so I quit.
But you saved Maya.
Yeah, that was my plan. Up until just now, anyway.
What do you mean?
Are you listening, Maya? If I really wanted to save you, then there's one person I should have gone and talked to right away.
Who would that be? Are you talking about Nick?
But I didn't do it.
Good grief, come on.
I tried to get the help of Iris and your mother, but I closed my eyes to the most important man involved. Do you know why? The real reason?
No. Why?
I suppose I wasn't really interested in saving you at all.
What?
I think I was just trying to salvage what's left of my own broken soul. I was trying to make up for the fact that I couldn't save Mia. Nothing more. That's why I let you walk right into a situation that I knew was dangerous. Forgive me.
You're wrong. You put your life on the line to save Maya.
Was it really for Maya's sake? Even I'm not really sure.
Well, what do you mean by that?
That night, in the darkness of the garden, when I saw her silhouette. Part of me must have known the truth. The truth that it wasn't really Dahlia Hawthorne standing there in front of me. It could have been Misty Faye, or even that little girl. But still, I picked up the blade. It was like I was dreaming.
Also, I just want to point out how fucking, like, anime samurai he looked right there with the fucking, the glow and the fucking cloud of smoke and everything, and him with the fucking sword. Like,
and, like, the spotlight coming down on him.
Right?
Yeah. Honestly, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not sure exactly what was going on in my mind at that point. Was I really motivated by the pure desire to protect Maya Faye? Or was it something else? Was it my hatred for a woman who had stolen everything from me 6 years earlier? Could it have been simply a desire for revenge? And now, I don't know anything anymore. I did learn something today, however. I finally realized that I was the arrogant one. I was just chasing an illusion, a fantasy. The stupid fantasy of defeating you in the courtroom. You were the one who made me realize my folly. You never ran away from me as death. Instead, you picked up where she left off, as a true defender of the people. In that one moment, I understood everything.
Mr. Godot.
Please, call me Diego.
Yeah.
I think you already know this, but if you don't, my name is Diego Armando.
You called it.
I called it a long time ago.
Well, I mean, you called him saying.
Well, I mean, that, yeah, but I mean, it's his name. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we kind of knew
we already,
right
yeah,
away. Like, matter of fact, if I recall correctly, when Diego first appeared, you know, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a younger Godot.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Mr. Armando, I believe in you. I know you were trying to save me.
Thanks.
Your wound, it's bleeding.
Ah, did you forget already? In my world, the color red doesn't exist. These must be my tears.
Tears?
Ever since I woke up from my coma, I think I've been waiting for this very moment.
Mr. Armando.
You do well to remember this, Maya. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over.
This time, it really is all over, isn't it? Defending.
Yes, Your Honor.
Although you weren't directly involved in the murder, tampering with the body in the crime scene is a serious offense in itself.
I understand, Your Honor. Mr. Armando explained that to me very carefully. I knew the risk, and I was willingly cooperated anyway.
Very well. Before I hand down my verdict, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, there is one thing. I'd like to say something to Mr. Wright. I want to apologize to you.
Apologize? To me? For what?
For the case 5 years ago, of course.
I just remembered. Weren't you poisoned by your lover?
Not exactly, but yeah, something like that. Even now, 5 years later, I can hardly believe it. She was going to do it. She was planning to kill me.
Why did she try to kill him again?
To get the necklace back.
Right.
It's not all that surprising. The two of you hardly knew each other.
Huh? What do you mean?
You and my sister. You only met twice.
Huh? We only met twice?
The first time you met was on that fateful day. The day she poisoned Mr. Armando in the cafeteria of this very courtroom. The next time you met her was 8 months later. You met her again on the day that she stole your cold medicine. And Doug Swallow was killed. No way. It can't be true.
Holy crap, Phoenix is even more of a simp than Larry.
No, that's not what she's saying. She's saying that all the other times that him and Dahlia hung out is that it was actually Iris.
Oh my god.
And that's why she thought so highly of Dahlia. Because he wasn't hanging out with Dahlia at all. It was Iris.
And that's why he always knew her as being sweet and kind and patient, is because it was Iris.
Yeah.
Not Dahlia. Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, during our whole relationship, we were...
For those 8 months, the woman that you thought was Dahlia Hawthorne wasn't actually my sister.
Huh? It wasn't Dahlia?
I hope one day you could forgive me, Feeny.
You mean...
That's right. I lied to you. For 8 months.
But why? Why would you do such a thing?
Ever since she gave you the bottle that day, my sister was trying to get it back as soon as she possibly could. Because of the police investigation and their surveillance. She couldn't move about freely.
So that's why you...
My sister, from the very beginning, she was prepared for the worst.
Prepared for the worst?
She thought that you might have somehow discovered the truth. That's why she was always ready to deal with you at a moment's notice.
I mean, she was ready to kill me, don't you?
She already had so much to answer for. I didn't want more sins on her soul. I begged her not to do it, and she agreed to give me a chance.
And that's why you came to me? You came to get the bottle pendant back for me in her place?
But I couldn't get you to give it back. I failed at something even as simple as that. 8 months passed and I still couldn't get it back from you. Finally, my sister couldn't wait any longer. She didn't consult me about her plans for you that day. It was the first time that had ever happened.
That was a bit strange, wasn't it? Up until that day, you two were partners in crime, and she would confer with you.
I think she must have noticed.
Notice what?
My feelings for you. If I had found out she was planning to kill you, I would have done whatever was necessary to stop her. Even if it meant her life or mine.
Iris!
After spending those 8 months by your side, my feelings towards you, they changed.
I have something to say to you, too.
Yes?
You really are the person I always thought you were. Even after Dolly Hawthorne was found guilty, I still believe in you.
Thank you.
How many cups of darkness have I drank over the years? Even I don't know. I'll tell you though, right now, this one here is the greatest cup I think I've ever had. Don't you think so, Phoenix Wright?
Oh, look at him.
Well.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The purpose of this trial was to rule on the murder of the victim, at least some. At some point, I expect you will be tried for your role as an accomplice in this case.
I understand, Your Honor.
Very well. On the charge of murder, I hereby find the defendant not guilty. Perfect! Court is now adjourned.
There was no fanfare this time. And I guess everyone's still in their fields.
I mean, yeah. Sheesh.
Saving real quick. So I guess it's all over. The way everything ended. Was justice really served? That man who risked his life to save Maya is being sent to prison by my own hand.
Of course justice was served.
Mia?
I'm proud of you, Phoenix. Your defense was truly brilliant.
But I couldn't save Mr. Armando. The man who cared so deeply for you.
You're wrong, Phoenix. You did save Diego. You saved him in the only way possible.
You mean with that verdict?
I think one day you'll understand too. Phoenix, I want you to remember one thing. You are as good out there today as any defense attorney could ever hope to be. There's nothing more you can learn from me.
Mia?
You've accomplished something I wasn't able to. I owe you a great deal. Thank you.
Mia.
I'm sure we'll meet again. Someday, Phoenix.
I've handled lots of cases and seen lots of things.
So wait, is Diego... Is he not going to be charged with murder? Is that how we saved him?
Well, Phoenix did say he's going to jail, but I don't know if he's going to get the death penalty or not.
I hope not.
I hope not as well. Along this journey, I found myself asking just one question. What does it really mean to defend someone? I suppose today's case produced one possible answer.
Nick,
Maya.
I guess it's just like my sis said.
Mia? What did she say?
That night, when I channeled Mia to get her advice on what to do, this is what she wrote back in my notebook. Don't worry. Phoenix will save everyone in the end.
But...
Come on! Cut it out with that gloomy face! Can't you see? Me, sis, and Usher Iris too. We owe you for everything you've done for us, Nick.
Maya, how? How can you be so bright and chipper after all that's happened? You were brutally attacked? You even saw your own mother murdered. Ow! Francisca?
Still as softy as always, Phoenix Wright.
Excellent work, right?
Huh? Mr. Edgeworth, when did you get back?
Oh, that's right. I guess no one filled a run on that. Edward and Francisca have actually been helping me.
Helping you?
If these two hadn't been there on the first day of the trial, the defense wouldn't have gotten anywhere.
Wow. But where were you, Nick? I heard he fell into a river and caught a nasty cold which forced him to sleep all day.
Yes, he lay in bed shivering with his fever. From his fever with Iris's hood pulled over his head.
Oh, ouch. Talk about embarrassing, Nick. You definitely need more training. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. And you too. Miss Francisca?
I don't suppose.
Saving real quick. You guys going out? No,
Oh.
Larry. I don't suppose there's room in this group for a room in for a group hug, is there?
Oh, Larry.
What the what's with the longer than unusual face? Longer than usual one. Whatever.
I realized something when I was reborn. I realized that Larry was never any use to anyone, not even once.
That's not true. Right, Nick?
This is okay, yeah. At the end of each game, there's always a thing I have to present.
Right.
What? You're asking me?
Well, Nick, is it true? I've got a place in this world, right?
Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I don't want to get it wrong.
I knew it. Everyone would be better off if I were gone for good.
No. Oh, yeah. Is it gonna be now? Whoops. I always say right before it. Those portraits you painted, they were really good. Isn't that right, Edgeworth?
What? Me?
Why are you making that face, huh, Edgy?
Oh, well, yes, indeed. I certainly can't say that they lack resemblance.
Do you really mean it? What about you, Francie? Did I draw you well, too? Ah!
My beauty can't possibly be captured by a mere crown. Nevertheless, I recognize the effort you put into it, and that's worth something.
So then you'll do it, like you promised? You're going to model for my next picture book, Francie Whippity Whip Trip? Ow!
Don't get carried away.
Well, how about that? I guess painting portraits is the only thing I'm good at. The painting of Furry was pretty darn good too, if you ask me. Huh?
Now that you mention it, I haven't seen her around.
Pearls? Where could she have gone? Normally she would have made a beeline for Maya.
Oh, I'll go look for her. Be right back. Oh. Hey, Pearly!
Right. You seem to be uncharacteristically puzzled.
I'm surprised the choice has not come up yet.
Also same. I suspect you are wondering how Maya can be so cheerful despite all that has happened.
Yeah.
To be honest, I can't understand it either.
Franziska. That's right. She lost her father fairly recently as well.
I think I understand how she feels. Maya is a much wiser person than she appears, and I think she realizes something. Now is exactly the time when she needs to be as strong as she can.
What do you mean by now is exactly the time?
Maya wasn't the only one that was badly wounded by this incident. In fact, there was someone that was hurt far more deeply than she.
Is this what you want me to do? You want me to present Pearl? I'll do it.
I believe it's for that person that Maya is trying her best not to cry.
Someone who was hurt more deeply than Maya? Okay, yeah, this is probably where it's gonna be. Edgeworth, I think I'm starting to understand too. Ow!
Then tell me, Phoenix Wright.
Is this? Yeah, okay, there we go.
Who is Maya Fey being strong for? Pearl Fey.
Poor kid. After all, the reason she worked so hard to follow the instructions was because she loved and believed in her mother, Morgan. It was for the good of the Fey clan. I'm sure she would have believed every last word. She thought it was she was doing for Maya, and that's why she was so happy. It shows how truly devoted she is to Maya.
But it's a cruel irony that it was her exuberance that led to this tragedy. Maya Fey's mother was killed, and Maya herself was put into the deepest peril imaginable.
And that's exactly why Maya is putting on a brave face. She's doing it for Pearl's sake, until she can see her smile again.
Oh, hey. So this is where you all were. How you doing, pals? Anyway, wow, looks like we got so much... what was that for, sir?
Sorry about that, Scruffy. Force of habit.
Yeah.
My whip seems to just have a mind of its own.
What's up, Detective Gumshoe?
You know, this and that. Anyway, congrats on your win, pal. Look out tonight, pal. Dinner's on me. My salary's just sort of kind of gone down by a teeny-weeny bit. But it's alright. I made reservations at a first-class French restaurant tonight.
Oh, I'm sure I know what restaurant that is.
Oh, dear lord.
Pretty good work, Scruffy. That whip was your reward.
Detective Gumshoe? You said a first-class restaurant. French restaurant. You don't mean...
Oh, no. Très bien. Where else, pal?
I knew it. We're doomed.
Come on, let's go, everyone. Can't keep Maggie waiting, pal. Hey, you, crybaby. You're invited too.
Oh, forget about me. Pearl and I will be at the loser shack eating potatoes.
You know, Maya's taking an awfully long time to get back. She's still out there looking for pearls. Oh, Maya. What's wrong?
Nick, what do I do? Pearly, I can't find her anywhere.
Huh?
I'll bet she just went back home. That's all.
I thought so too, so I called the village. But no one has heard from her. This has never happened before.
She was literally just here. She could have gotten her back to her village that fast.
Yeah, it would have taken her at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
Also, is she at the detention center trying to talk to her mom or something, maybe?
I don't know.
As I figured, she has been badly hurt by this incident.
Controller, please, we're almost done.
She feels responsible for the tragedy that has befallen you, Maya.
Sorry if it seems like I'm oversaving, but I feel like this is going to be another thing to come up.
But none of this was her fault. What should I do?
Detective Gumshoe,
Yeah, what is it, pal?
could you guys go on ahead?
But what about you?
Maya and I we'll join you guys once we find pearls.
Nick,
Don't worry about us, Detective Gumshoe. We may be a little late, but we'll definitely be there. We have a lot of celebrating to do tonight, and I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Yeah, but you're the...
very well, Phoenix Wright. We'll go on ahead.
Don't keep us waiting, right?
We won't.
But where should we look? Where could Pearl have gone?
Let's go, Maya. There's only one place I can think of that pearls might have gone to.
home.
The office? Oh, the manor?
How's the current temple?
Interesting. For pearls, I bet this is a very important place. After all, it's where this whole incident started.
What's this? You're all back again so soon.
I probably did the voice wrong, but whatever.
A little bit deeper.
This is Sister Bikini.
I thought we'd be eating mashed potatoes alone tonight.
So she's here? Pearly is here?
She's in the training hall. Why don't you hurry along and go see her?
Okay.
Oh,
She cleaned the portrait.
yeah.
Pearly is not here.
Ah, Maya, the hanging scroll.
Ah. Someone cleaned it off.
And there's not even a stain or anything. That's quite impressive.
Actually, yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Pearl's gifted in channeling, a prodigy, but also apparently really good, like, ancient art restoration.
I guess so, yeah.
Like, jeez.
It's gotta be pearls.
Ah! Mystic Maya! But Pearly, why did you just leave like that? Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya!
Jeez.
I swore that I would never trouble the two of you ever again. Because it's all my fault that Mystic Maya's mother.
That's why you came here?
It's the least I could do. To pray for your happiness. You don't have to do that, Pearly. It wasn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Of course I'm sad that my mother is gone, but how do I say this? I'm still happy. You don't have to lie just to make me feel better. No, really. It's true. The only reason I'm still here is thanks to everyone who was there for me. My sis, my mother, Mr. Armando, Nick, and you, Pearls. Even if you weren't if even one of you weren't there, I'm sure I wouldn't still be alive right now. That's why I have to be strong. For all the people that were there for me when I needed them. That's all I can really do. Mystic Maya.
I'm impressed. You really truly are the daughter of Mystic Misty.
Sister Bikini.
Your mother, Mystic Misty, was a strong woman indeed. I want to tell you what she did to me, what she said to me that night.
What she did to me, that
Whoops.
After dishonoring the good name of Crane, I don't have the right to face my daughter. But still, Maya's always in my thoughts. It's true. She'll always be with me until the day I die.
Babe. Baby. Now's not a good time.
Yes. What? What are you doing? Oh my goodness gracious.
What? Get lit and knocked over all of this? Jeez.
Yes, Spirit was with her, and that's why your mother was so strong. Even at the end, I'm sure she had no regrets.
Why'd you knock over all of this, you needy? Jeez.
Let me go into Carl's room, I swear to God.
Are we good?
I think so. Anyway,
She'll always
you
be
know,
with.
I know you didn't want this to turn into a 2-hour episode,
But it's approaching 2 hours. Yeah.
it is the finale, though, so I mean...
I don't know. I'll figure some way. I
to
might
be
just
fair,
keep it.
also, this is the finale of the entire series.
yeah.
Like, the entire trilogy.
Yeah,
This game and everything else we've played through so far.
that is true. I mean, we'll get to the other things right eventually, but for now, this is.
I mean, and I think 2 hours, I think it's significant enough to, be like, hey, yeah, there was a lot that happened, but we're good.
all right.
It's all over.
All right. She'll always be with me until the day I die. Huh. There's a rule or something about all masters are to follow, isn't there? To never take the charm off until the day you die?
That's the Master's talisman.
She threw the door open. Do you mind? The thing that Missy kept by her heart and would never take off. It wasn't the container that was important. Rather, its contents.
Oh my gosh!
I know. That's...
A photo? Ah! Mother.
It's only natural for living creatures to fight to protect their own lives. But what makes us human is that we fight for others. But who do you fight for? How hard must you fight? That's the true measure of what the human life is worth. We defense attorneys are warriors who constantly challenged by that question.
Huh.
Oh. I guess the vase had been broken before, huh?
Well, yeah, it was cracked even when...
Oh yeah. That's right.
And that was when Mia and Pearl, or Mia and Maya must have broken it at some point somehow. See, but that's a color picture right there.
You're
what
right.
about during all these other fucking like?
Yeah, they don't have color in these other pictures, but this
or the video cameras, but this one random like photo,
really old photo, mind you.
Yeah,
this would have been like years ago when they were
Mia
kids.
is like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Pearl's like 6.
And yet they have colors when all the other things don't.
Right? Like, come on.
Right.
Are you shitting me right now? This is well over at least a decade, possibly even longer ago.
Yeah. Warriors return time and time again. Mia, Maya, Pearls, Mr. Armando, and Maya's mother, too. I learned that from all of them. Well, shall we get going? Everyone is waiting. This is a day to remember. A day when a lot of things were finally put to rest. I think we should celebrate what we've overcome today.
But I still can't.
Oh, go on, sweetie. You can come back for training anytime.
Okay. Alright, I'm going to make a brand new start too. Sister Bikini, I'll be back for more training. I promise.
I know, but I won't go on easy on you just because you're the future master. I'll make sure to prepare reservations for the 3 of you when you come back. Wahaha! Hoo hoo hoo! Hee hee hee!
Alright, we're going to have a great feast today, Pearly. And hopefully we won't all get food poisoning and throw up afterward.
Right.
You know why? Because training is a battle of endurance. And oh boy, is this food something to test your constitution by.
Oof.
Okay, Mr. Maya, I'll eat lots of food tonight.
You
Pearl,
know...
that's not what I meant. Please, no, Pearl, don't eat a lot. I promise, it's okay.
Jeez. You know, there's one thing I don't get, and probably don't want to, but...
What is it, Nick?
Reservation for training is fine and all, but why for 3?
Oh, come on, what do you think? You're one of us, Nick. Next time, you can train right alongside us.
Huh? I'll be waiting for you. Sister Bikini will take special care of you. Huh? Huh? Gotta wait for my controller to come back.
It'll be great, Nick. We're going to do the special course, naturally. What if it turns out that Phoenix himself actually does have a little bit of spiritual power? Because he can use the Matagama, right?
I mean, yeah, he
and
can.
not just anybody can use that.
So can Edgeworth.
True.
The Magatama was infused with spiritual power by Pearl.
Oh, so it by itself can actually... Okay. Darn. I was kind of hoping that... Wait, but what if? That's a great idea. After all, Mr. Nick, you'd do anything for Mr. Maya, wouldn't you? Even work on hot coals, right?
Is this where he's gonna say objection? I'm waiting for it.
We'll have a nice big meal before we come next time, right, Nick?
I'm willing to bet. You know, I was wondering if I can say one, just one little thing.
Sure, of course you can. Oh, I love this part. I can't wait to hear it.
I'm getting goosebumps too. Come on. Well then, there goes nothing. Thank you.
Ha.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna put the controller down because it's the end credits anyway. Oh, there's more.
I really have to work extra hard now. Master Crane and the office manager are right in Cole offices. And I have to be a good big sister to Pearlie and Nick, too. Well, as long as I'm not locked up or captured or something like that. She seems to have a bit of a knack for being captured, doesn't she?
And accused of murder. It happened 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's true. Mr. Nick really is missing by his knight in shining armor. He went through with a special course, all the way to the end. Wow. Actually, I heard there's a legendary extra special ultra course here, too. I think I'll surprise the two of them by making them a secret reservation.
Oh no.
Pearls, wait. No, stop. Pearl. Okay, but I want to see them all. I want a big ass photo of all of them at Trey band together. He's back in his fucking. His tan coat.
I can't control this. So.
Oh right, Maggie brought me a new coat.
Yes, but somehow you don't seem the same. I guess a dirty, shabby old overcoat is more detective-like, sir.
Don't worry about it, pal. In the name of love, a man will soil himself silly.
Out of context.
I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Maggie, forgive me. This is a beautiful coat. Thank you.
Mr. Wright, I'm once again in your debt. Thanks to you, the treasures of current exhibit were a great success. I even got to see Miss Von Karma, who I hadn't seen for almost a year.
Wow.
She taught me how to use a whip, and I said that I must show you what I've learned.
Whoosh.
Yeah.
That's cool, though.
It is.
Hey.
Desi and I started a company called Mass to Mass Consulting. We're dedicated to stopping evil plans of all the criminals in the city. Our motto is, cut it out, please!
Pretty cute, huh?
Well, we also sell plans to criminals, and it's kind of a side business. I wonder if that's okay. Sometimes I think maybe we're the worst criminals.
So, they're both consulting criminal and consulting detective. They're literally Sherlock or Moriarty rolled into one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Oh.
I wanted to show my appreciation to Mr. Wright for exterminating Don Tigre, so I lent him $500,000.
Tea set.
A special thick tea, one I mix with my own 2 hands. I bet he's drinking it right now. Went through compromise.
I'm surprised she didn't get arrested for tampering with the crime scene.
Yeah.
Because she did technically...
I'm just holding it in the way. Wrinkly, grumpy old clown-nosed waste of flesh. Well, that's what I thought. But my grandkids had a birthday party for me the other day. Talk about embarrassing. 69 years old and I cried like a baby with a dirty diaper.
That was kind of weird.
But yeah, didn't Violetta... She actually disguised herself as,
Oh yeah, as Maggie.
Yeah.
As usual, we have an abundance of work to do. We have hired a new primer to replace Glenn Elk. I do hope everyone will get along. His name is... Adam Manda.
Adam Mada.
Adam Mada. As soon as I heard his name, I knew our brain circuits would align perfectly.
Didn't that look kind of like Sal?
It looked like the other guy who was already there.
Oh. Oh yeah, never mind.
I guess maybe it's his twin brother.
Mm-hmm.
Ma. More reporters? Since the murder, I've had so much money I hardly know what to do. I think magazines like us, us because we have such a nice visual something. I can hardly wait for ours to come back. Wah ha ha ho ho ho.
Provides such a nice model, especially in spring, I think it said.
Oh, okay.
I'm not 100% certain.
I wish these didn't go automatically, but...
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well.
You've turned into such a respectable man, Feeney. It was so sweet of you and everyone else to come by and visit me here the other day. Of course, I was happy that you can constantly have your eyes on me, but I felt kind of bad when the little one slapped you so hard you got a nosebleed.
Jeez.
Well, hey, you know what? I guess you were right all along.
Yeah.
You called it.
What did I call?
That Phoenix actually did never really have those kind of feelings for Maya. He had them for somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
I never even noticed.
pretty cool that we're seeing the voice actors for their little voice clips.
Mm-hmm.
The cool hair flip, of course they had to
Right.
include that.
You know, objection, objection, objection. And these two, of course. Objection, objection.
Are they gonna have Manfred in here? Because he was only in the first game. Oh,
Oh,
of course.
fucking pain.
Dude, I love how they don't even. So in the anime. Oh wait, Larry. Oh wait, no.
Oh, she's back.
Well, you were her.
What's this? I'm back from vacation. A long time vacation. I was gone. My little whippersnapper buddy quit. Now I've got no one. And what kind of lonely, crazy security room is this supposed to be anyway? With all the flashing lights and switches, I feel like some sort of space alien. And now what am I going to do with all these macadamia nuts that are back for everyone? For playing with a lazy poo, and there's anyway, I can't even accept these. I'm afraid they're just something that's painful for my heart. Oh, I'll never find a gentleman.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
I think I might have fucked up her voice because I don't 100% remember what I made her sound like. But I think I got at least kind of
I
close.
think it was pretty close.
I finally find something to do. I love to do. Francie Whippity Whip Strip is gonna turn the art world on its head. I should have realized it sooner. Self-centered, lazy, and antisocial. I'm an artist. A really good portrait artist. I'm not a loser after all.
Self-entitled, lazy.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, I wouldn't say all artists are like that, Larry, but
I think it's just playing out the stereotype.
probably.
That's actually really beautiful.
Oh yeah, that's Larry's portraits.
Yeah.
He did that. Okay, Larry, you actually have skill.
Wow. I did not give him enough credit.
Yeah, seriously.
This is done in Crown? Holy shit. For Crown, that's very impressive.
Why do you keep saying crown?
Because that's what Franziska said that it was done in. She was like, you can't possibly capture my likeness in Crown.
You mean crayon?
Crayon, crown, whatever.
Crowns are things you wear on your head.
Shut up, that's how I've always pronounced it.
Alright, well that's it.
Finally. And 100% achievements.
Yeah.
30 out of 30. Wow. Now that the playthrough's done, Huh. I don't know, I feel kind of weird.
Yeah. It's been a long time coming. I mean, this isn't just the third game we're completing, this is the entire trilogy. Because, I mean, I know I separated them on YouTube, you know, to be in separate playlists, but...
all we've recorded was Phoenix Wright.
Yeah.
So, I mean... Jeez. What do we...
Well, we move on to the next game, right? We're gonna do the Halo collection, or whatever. Which means we're moving from one collection to another collection.
Yeah... Should we maybe play something else first?
Maybe.
I was going to suggest Nancy Wright because I think we're still in the middle of playing one.
Yeah, well, no, we
did finish it?
We did finish the last Nancy Drew game we played, but it's been a while since we have played Nancy Drew, so...
But that's also a lot of investigating and a lot of talking.
That is also true, yeah.
And I mean, and also some of those puzzles, man,
I know. Tell you what. We can split up the Halo collection, do like the first game, and then a Nancy Drew, and then the second game, and then a Nancy Drew.
I don't know about a Nancy Drew. I think we should change what we do in between them. But I'm alright with that idea.
Alright. So do you want to start Halo as our next series then, I guess?
Yeah, I guess so. It'll be nice to be,
It's gonna be a completely different,
yeah, a little bit.
Because we're going from, you know, Ace Attorney, you know, trials and investigations and...
You know...
all that stuff.
Contradictions and thinking critically to shoot just, every alien in the face.
Right, it's completely tonal change, but, you know...
Yeah, and we still only have one controller, so you'll be the one in charge.
Unless we go out and buy 2 more, because this one's kind of going out the door. So...
I shrug, for I do not know.
Well, I guess we'll just have to see. But thank you for joining us in this 2-hour epic, I guess.
Marathon, possibly?
And then,
Anywho, yeah, we recorded the last of these episodes in the book, but we honestly thought that this finale was going to be a lot sooner, especially after it said the final part, so I just...
Right, I didn't realize
honestly,
there was going to be so much left. I could have sworn.
I figured like they were going to like pull out all the stops, it was going to be Mia, and that was going to be that. But no, it turned out it was Godot.
Right.
Like, that was a huge twist even I didn't see coming.
I
I know
yeah.
Ethan, has already praised me for being kind of the master of the plot twist, but Godot was never on my mind as a possible, like...
And can I just say,
killer.
Ethan, listen, I appreciate you, you're a really good commentator, but can I just say that I predicted plot twists as well? I called that Elise was Misty. I called other things, I'm sure.
I mean, sure, but to his credit, recently I have been incredibly good at calling even the most bizarre, outlandish stuff.
I mean, yeah,
And it turned out to be completely, like, true exactly as I called it.
I'm not gonna deny that, but I think I deserve a little credit too, okay?
I mean, okay, but you already got it. You got credit in a different way, so I mean, are you really gonna complain?
Yes.
Objection!
Ah! Okay, well, we'll see you guys
I guess
in Halo.
Yeah. Halo
So-
episode 1.
See you guys then. Any last?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, like, this game has... Wow. I fucking love this series, man.
Me too,
And
man.
honestly, I cannot wait to the point at which we actually get to play the next one.
Me too, yeah.
I would love, honestly, for all of them to be available and released on Steam so we can play all of them.
Right. I
The
mean,
entire Phoenix Ace Attorney collection.
and it's weird because this trilogy, well, maybe not this one specifically because
Sure.
it's the HD trilogy.
Right.
But the Phoenix Wright trilogy has been re-released like so many times. There's a DS version, there's a 3DS version, and now there's this HD version. But they
But
never
they're
go.
on PC.
Yeah. But it's always just the first trilogy. Like, give us the next trilogy, please.
Yeah, honestly, like, give me 4 and 5. And also the Apollo Justice game.
Yeah, and also
even the Miles Edgeworth ones.
yeah. So
Like, just give me all of it. I want to experience everything this world has to offer, because these are all really, really fucking cool.
yeah.
The plot twists, sometimes are a little hard to read into, but with the third game, I think that they were a lot better about timing their writing, because I feel like in the third game here, I was able to actually, like, feel smart by, like, calling some of the plot twists in advance.
Yeah.
Especially regarding this last case with Morgan. Holy shit!
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fact
yeah.
that I called it about them all being related. Oh my god!
And dude,
I still cannot get over that. That was like a total just moment for me, you know? I was so hyped on my own shit over the fact that, oh my god, it was so far-fetched and completely outlandish, but at the same time, but what if?
right.
Ah!
I'm extremely happy that I went into this blind because I had played the first and second game before we recorded.
Well, sure, and that's why I spent most of the time speculating, and you're like,
Yeah, and that was
otherwise leading me on, and you and Craig are terrible about that, by the way.
yeah.
Because I was watching Legend of Korra with him the other day, and oh my god, some of the things that happened in there completely threw me for a loop, and you two are too good at leading me on with shit you've already seen.
It's true, but
I appreciate it, but also,
So,
what did you tell me? You know?
yeah. But yeah, like I said though, I played the first game all the way through, and I was like right at the last, like I was at the last, I think, court of the last case on game 2 when my DS bricked. And I didn't get to finish.
Unfortunate.
But it seems that was a blessing in disguise, because if I had already known all the twists and turns going into this, I'm willing to bet it wouldn't have been as good. Like, getting both of our fresh reactions and whatnot, getting both of our speculations, you know?
All of our weird conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Some of which turned out to be completely true.
Yeah.
Jeez. This is definitely one of the series that, if I didn't know anything about our channel, this is the one series I would recommend to anybody. This is the one series that I would look at this and be like, wow, those are some funny voices, and as I continue watching, continue to be thrilled, not only by us, but the games and the twists and the turns, and I know I might have complained about it in the past and whatnot, about how I was kind of like, about some of it, but honestly, I fucking love these games, man. I loved having the privilege to be a voice actor for some of these characters and give them, these other personalities and extra jokes and side things and all of this extra connected stuff.
Oh, for sure.
I love the creativity of doing this playthrough, and I want to have more of this.
We're kind of tooting our own horn a bit, but
Granted, I'm not even trying to toot my own horn. I'm just saying I loved being a part of it. That's all I'm trying to say.
It was quite the experience. Extremely fun, and I agree. Yeah, man, like, this was great.
Yeah. So, with all of that out of the way, I'm now ready to finally say thank you so much, everybody. Super extra shout out to you, Ethan.
And shout out to
Frozen Kebab.
Frozen Kebab, yeah. He hasn't commented a lot recently, but you were still in the comments for a bit there, so I want to give a shout out to you as well.
That's fair. But yes, super extra shout out to the both of you, and thank you, everybody, so much for joining us on this journey.
And I guess we should mention Dylan as well. He also...
Fair.
Yeah. It's a little different, though, because we know Dylan in real life.
Right.
So... And not to say that I don't appreciate him watching. Of course I appreciate him watching.
Sure.
Matter of fact, none of our other friends watch.
It hits a little different.
Yeah. So, like, thanking our real-life friend Dylan for the comments is kind of different than thanking someone we don't even know, you know?
Right.
So, that's all I really mean.
But, yes, thank you to absolutely everybody who's joined us on this, honestly, magical journey.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
This has been probably one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Yeah. So, at 2 hours and 11 minutes, we finally bid you adieu. See you guys next time. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, see you guys when we do our next series.
Yep. Bye-bye.